Are you new to the area, or are you maybe considering looking to buy in Southwest Florida? Well, I am located here in Cape Coral, Florida, and today I wanted to talk with you about our map here, because if you're looking to buy in this area or maybe just finding out some fun stuff to do, well, you're going to want to stick around and listen to me as I talk about the map and some great things to know about our location. Hi, my name is Shelley. I'm a realtor here in Cape Coral, Florida. I graduated from the leadership program at Cape Coral Chamber of Commerce. I also volunteer at the Welcome Center here in Cape Coral on Fridays from 12 to 4. And guys, I get a lot of people coming in asking me things like, what can I do while I'm here in Cape Coral? What are the best places to buy? What's coming to Cape Coral? So today I'm going to go over all of that with you, and you're going to get a good education on Cape Coral. So let's talk about a little bit of history of Cape Coral. It was founded in 1957 by the Rosen brothers. And I want to talk about how some of the areas got developed so you can be a little more educated about Cape Coral, Florida. So if you notice on the map, if you get a map that looks like this, you're going to see all these different squares that have numbers in it. And I get this question asked a lot when I'm working at the farmers market here. What do those numbers mean? So when the Rosen brothers came to Cape Coral in 1957, they started in the southeast area. And Rick, if you'll zoom in, if you notice, the numbers in this area are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the years that they developed these. So the larger the number, the later the year that it was developed. So the 1950s through about the 1970s, they were developing this lower southeast area. The one thing about this location, if you're a boater, you'll notice the canals are going to be a little bit smaller. So you have to take that into consideration if you're looking to purchase here in Cape Coral. The next location that they developed was right in this area. This was developed in the 1980s, 1990s, and now in the 2000s, over in the southwest area, they started to develop this, and you'll notice that the canals are getting a lot larger. Our current day project or area that we're working on is in the northwest area, up here. So you have Pine Island, and then above that is the northwest, and so a lot of people are getting interested in this because we have a lot of commercial property coming to the Burnt Store Road area. There's also a little piece of real estate information that you may want to know about if it's something called the 7 Islands. And Rick, if you can zoom in right here, this is the 7 Islands. This is in Unit 76. What we are expecting to see is a large company come in. They want to build a marina there. They want to have lots of dining, maybe some hotels, a nice place for the people in the Northwest to go shopping. Another little rumor that's going around is right now in the Northwest, there is one location that goes out to the Gulf. So all of this is Gulf access, but they are talking about possibly putting in another location that's going to be Gulf access up in here. So if you're looking to purchase in the northwest area, this could increase your property value tremendously. So on the map, let's talk a little bit about Gulf access versus freshwater. So you may or may not know that Cape Coral has the largest canal system in the world, over 400 miles of canals. So if you want to live on the water, this is the place to come. We have lots of fishing, wildlife, birds, beautiful and gorgeous here, close to a lot of beautiful beaches. But let's get back to the Gulf access, the freshwater canals. If you noticed on the map, or if you have one, you're going to have different colorization of the water on the map. You have light colored in the middle right here, and then you have a darker color on the outside. When you see a darker color water on the map, that is going to be your Gulf access water. There's some way to get out through the Gulf access. In the center, this is all freshwater. You'll have access maybe to some freshwater lakes and some other canals that do kayaking, paddleboard, some different water activities. You can even take a jet ski or have a boat out there as well, but you will not be able to get out to the Gulf. Now, a lot of people ask me, well, what about how big of a boat can I have in Cape Coral, you know, with all the water system and bridges that you have? Well, that depends on where your location is and the bridge height that you have to go under. I've seen some bridges as short as 6 3/4 feet, and then some as high as 11 3/4. And all of that is subject to change depending on the tide. On average though, you're going to see about 8.5 foot clearance with your boats. So keep that in mind. We do have some sailboat access properties right back in here in the southeast that are direct Gulf access, that don't have any bridges to go through. That is what you want to look for if you're looking for sailboat access. The other thing that is unique in Cape Coral, which there's been a little bit of change since Hurricane Ian, is we have a lock. And people ask me, Shelley, what is a lock? So it's kind of a gateway that opens and closes that allows boats to come in and out in the southwest area. If you could zoom into this area right here, Rick, right here is our lock. Now, since Hurricane Ian, this lock is broken, and we are hoping and praying that they don't fix it, because it makes it much easier for boats to come in and out of that area without having to wait. Because as you can imagine, during in season, that area can get very congested. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what separates the north, the south, the east, and the west on Cape Coral, because there are some dividing lines that you should know about. So what separates the north and the south? Well, it is right here on Embers Parkway. It goes straight across. It cuts down the south a little bit, comes up on Pine Island, and then back across on Hancock Bridge Road. So this is going to be your north and your south. What separates the east from the west? Well, that is Santa Barbara. And that goes straight down, all the way from the north and the south. Now, the interesting part where people get confused, they're like, well, Shelley, what about places and avenues and lanes and courts and all that? It's so confusing in the numbers. How do I, get all that right in my head? So I was told this trick once, and I think it's an excellent tip. Just think, pack your bags and you're going north. Places, avenues, and courts, they run north and south. Everything else runs east to west. And right here in this center, where all this meets, you're going to have the first place or avenue, and that's going to come down this way. First place or avenue or court starts here and runs up, and it's the same in each quadrant. And that's how the numbers go. They start in the center and they get bigger as you work your way out. All right, another big question that I get when people come into the Welcome Center is, where should I go eat, or what should I do? So I do have a free local resource guide that I would love to give you. It has waterfront dining, local eateries, it has the marinas, parks and recreations. We have over 40 parks in Cape Coral. So you'll never have an issue finding something to do here. There's always an activity, something going on. Now, with waterfront dining, some places that I like to recommend, one of my new favorite places is High Tide Social Club out on Tarpon Point Marina. There's also Pinchers, there's the Naughty Mermaid near the Westin. You have Gather. Another waterfront dining area that's really great that you should try is over at Cape Harbor, Rum Runners and Fathoms. I also not only am a realtor and graduated from the leadership program, but I have a new title. I am opening up a restaurant here in Cape Coral too, so if you need a good brunch spot to go to, we're hoping to open at the end of the summer, and the name of that is going to be Bar Runch. And I want to show you the location where a lot of the restaurants are in downtown Cape Coral. We also hold a lot of events in this location where we'll block off the streets, Holiday Festival of Lights, Red, White, and Boom. And Rick, if you could zoom in to this location right here. Right in here is 47th Terrace. If you want to go to a location where you can just walk around to different restaurants, go to different bars, have live music, that is an excellent location to go. Now, a little bit of shopping. Where can you go to do some shopping? There's shopping to do on the 47th Terrace. It's mostly a lot of restaurants. There's some little boutiques there. But Del Prado, this is all the way in the southeast. And this runs from Cape Coral Parkway all the way up here to Pine Island Road. And Pine Island Road, we have a lot of upcoming shopping areas in this location as well, but you'll find your Ross's, your TJ Maxx, Publix, Walmart, Target. We have a super Target on Pine Island Road. I know I love to go shopping there. Let's talk a little bit about buying land here in Cape Coral. Something that I have noticed, if you're looking for Gulf access properties, I have been seeing some properties that are not actually Gulf access properties listed that way. So let me explain a little bit about this. We talked about earlier how the dark blue water is the Gulf access, the outside area, and then the interior of Cape Coral has the lighter color water, and that is our freshwater canals. There is a system set in place called weirs, and the weirs regulate the water levels in these freshwater canals. So this map in particular, I think if you see a little W, I know there are some other maps that have W's on it that indicate where that weir is. If that's set in place, you are not going to have Gulf access. So please be careful if you're looking at buying property up in the northeast or the northwest, even down here in the southeast and southwest centrally located, we have those set in place. I want to touch base a little bit on the assessments. We are putting in a water system with the city who they are imposing these assessments that can range anywhere between $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 depending on how much land you have. So before you buy land, you want to have your realtor, hopefully that's me helping you if you decide you want to buy here, and we can look that up and let you know if the assessments are in place. They do have a map online that lets us know when they're going to be the next location that they're going to be putting those assessments in. So the other thing that you want to think about or ask your real estate agent, like I said, is hopefully me. We do have one of the largest populations in Cape Coral called the burrowing owl, which they are cute little Coke bottle size owls. They live about 7 years here. And if one of those are located on your property, you're going to have that removed before you can build. Or you have to stay so many feet away during their breeding season, which I believe is between February and June or July, somewhere like that. So you can't build 40 feet away, or you have to build 40 feet away from a burrowing owl if you're on your property. So more than likely you're going to have to get a permit pulled to get that removed. And that can cost anywhere around $2,000 to remove those. The other environmental obstacle that you need to look out for are gopher tortoises and eagles. So gopher tortoises are a little more expensive to remove than the burrowing owl that we talked about. We also have the eagles that you cannot build at all within a certain amount of feet from them as well. And so some more things why you need an expert on your side when you're looking at buying here in Cape Coral. For those of you that live in Cape Coral, I don't need to tell you all the access points to get into Cape Coral, but for those of you who are considering moving to Cape Coral, We are right beside of Fort Myers. Over here to the east side is Fort Myers. Over here to the west side we have Pine Island, and above us we have Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Sarasota, and below us we have Estero and Naples, Marco Island. So 3 ways you can get into Cape Coral entering the east side. We have the upper bridge, the midpoint bridge, and we have the Cape Coral bridge. They are considering or working on doing another bridge a little further south, and that's going to be several years down the road. You have one access point onto Pine Island, which is right off of Pine Island Road, and so that is your location area. Now, if you are wanting to buy in Cape Coral and you're looking at taxes, I do have something online that I can go to and give you a current tax estimator, because if you have somebody that's bought in the 1950s and they're getting assessed on those taxes, well, that's going to be a lot lower than when you buy that property in 2023 and that property value has went up. Well, guess what? Your taxes are going to go up as well. So let me give you an estimate of what your tax is going to be, because that's so important when it's figuring into what you can afford and that payment that you're going to see. Are you wondering where you could get one of these maps? Well, I'm going to give you 2 locations you can pick this map up at. The first one is my office here at Cell State Excelsior Realty, 1242 Southwest Pine Island Road, Unit 46. We're right across from Farmer Joe's off of Pine Island Road. I have them free here. Or if you're in the south area of Cape Coral, you can come to Cape Coral Chamber Welcome Center at 2051 Cape Coral Parkway East. I am there on Fridays from 12 to 4, and I also have a special guest you may see at the chamber with me on Fridays. Meet my little helper, Daisy May. She's going to be with me at the chamber, and she will be ready to give you a few little kisses. You can give her a pet. She would love to see you at the chamber Fridays from 12 to 4. I told you about my free local resource guide. I have this at Cell State Excelsior Realty location or at the chamber as well. Like I said, you have the waterfront dining, local eateries, parks and recreations. I have local marinas. So it's a nice handy tool to have if you're new to the area looking for some things to do.